All right, everybody, it's time again for Survival of the Fittest is the soup du jour. I'm Chef Roberto Trevino. Remember, we're all about inspiring people. We're all about sharing stories about kitchen life with cooks, chefs, restaurateurs. You know, that's what we do here. We're trying to discover what makes us that important in this world, right? What individually we could do to inspire somebody. And today, today is a great day for me because you know what? I've learned, I think all of you, the listeners of Survival of the Fittest is the soup du jour, like it when I bring guest chefs on so they can share their stories with us. And, we've been doing this for a long time, and I think it's time to start really venturing out. And since people are starting to hear the podcast, they're starting to, really kind of get motivated to join us and share with us. And today, I have one of the wild chefs of the American food scene right now. And, not only is he really doing nice food, he's also cooking with something that I enjoy, a really, really nice, flavorful, high-end, herb. And today with us, we have the Ultra Fire chef, Randy Placeres. I tell you what, born and raised in Tracy, California, tú sabes, he's lived and trained in Hawaii, Chicago, Aspen, LA, New York City, Bangkok, and just recently was in one of my favorite places in the world in Oaxaca, Mexico. With you tonight, Chef Randy Placeres. ¿Cómo estás, hermano?
Maestro, ¿cómo estás? Y tú, sending you blessings.
Thank you. We always love that.
Sending you blessings from the mountains in Aspen.
You're in Aspen. Oh, man, that is the lap of luxury. There's no way, any other way to have it in Aspen, And now that, like the marijuana thing is so important, I mean, in Colorado's economy, I think Aspen must be even more fun than it was before.
Aspen's always been fun, and it's still pretty damn fun. But, we have more dispensaries than we have liquor stores.
Oh, nice.
And another fun fact about, the beautiful plants in our town is that we were the first city or zip code with city sales tax that our marijuana sales exceeded liquor sales, which is, that's a big thing. I mean,
yeah,
I like to have a cocktail, but as far as healing, this is a greater thing. So it's pretty cool. High Times picked up on that, and it made national news a couple years ago.
And High Times being the absolute authority on getting high.
Yeah, this is true. The new owner, Adam Levin, I cook for him. And, man, that guy goes so hard, he's just ready to get me fucked up.
Oh, my God,
and he's like
the
biggest businessman ever. He's like, just get me high. I'm like, all right, bro, just taste the food.
And, Shep, let me ask you this. Can you regulate the amount of high someone's going to get from a dish, or does it affect people differently?
Exactly. So there's no way to, I mean, you can, there's a few different, steps, hurdles that I've been, and others, people doing edibles. Is the testing of your oils, your butters, your fat solubles.
Right.
And yes. So the answer is it affects everybody differently. Yes. So I microdose. I actually, talk to my clients, talk to the people that are engaged in conversation, let them know what's going on and what to expect. And then kind of ask them what their cannabis intake is, and then you kind of feel what people can handle. I guess once you have a little conversation with them.
Well,
I
think I would go with the ultra amount. I'd go uber deep, heavy duty sedation meal.
Man, so that's so I've been fighting the brownie effect that everybody's had in college, right? They're like, man, I don't fuck with edibles. I'm like, no. I Timberlake. I didn't start to envy with him, but I did a 420 dinner with my shaman in Breckenridge, and he came to the dinner, but blah blah blah. But he's like, Chef, I will not eat. I can't eat weed, Brandy. Like I will, we can smoke, but I won't eat it. And I'm like, okay, but yeah. So like, I found like my the toughest burners, like my friends who just live in the mountains and burn tough like all day long, right?
Nice.
I got some of these guys to my house when I first started doing this. It was like 16, 17, 20, 16, 17. And these guys were so, I'm like, how do you feel, man? They're like, oh. And their faces were just like, they're like, whoa, this is good. It's satiating. This is a beautiful high, man. And it's different. So that's what I love about this, you know, one of the parts of it.
No, definitely. And I find that eating it as well, it's got just a longer effect and a stronger effect. I mean, because I'm old school, you know, and
Same.
Burning is burning, you know, but eating it
Right.
is totally different. I mean, I'm game for that, you know.
Yeah.
Now, in your like menus that you write, you actually incorporate the THC and everything into the food, into the courses.
Well, it's infused into the fat soluble.
Right.
When I started this, I did some research, and right before we did Food and Wine, you know, it was like I think it was 2015 or 16 of what year, and I was like, dude, Food and Wine is so corporate, so I'm like, I'm gonna do a weed dinner, and anyway, long story short, put it into like a coconut oil. I've infused like wedding cake strain into
Nice.
duck fat. I've done like super, you know, mole negros with it. I do like a warm. Here's one. So here's the deal. So like I'll hit people really hard in the appetizers section, where like with the I do this like seared Port Salut brie tortellini, and I wrap it with prosciutto, and you know, sear it, and I have this pomegranate dope sauce.
Oh, nice.
And the fat lipids in the cheese help to move through your liver. Like you go to your stomach and then it goes to your liver. So it for some reason I found that with the number, I'm up to like 420 dinners and like food related events around the world now. Really, like it just like to hit them early with a heavy dose, and then like kind of dance around with the terpenes, and then maybe hit a CBD course so it like reactivates the cannabinoids in the THC, and then like boom, hit them with the indica.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Going, yeah.
No. You're definitely, what I'm hearing right now tells me that this is very well thought out. I mean, you are definitely putting together not only great food, but a certain experience of actually getting higher and higher and leveling out and possibly even getting higher with your last course.
Right. Or coming down with the indica strain,
Nice.
you know, because it's part of that predominant like indica couch.
Yeah, I'm the
feel?
Indo guy myself.
Me too, bro. Me too. Like I love that Blue Dream, and you know, I'm a local boy from Cali. You know, been living in Colorado, Hawaii for a long time, but like, yeah.
I mean, you know, as a chef, okay, so you've taken on this new view, but what makes you a chef? I mean, tell us a little bit about your history, about your life.
Oh man, yeah. So, God, it's so crazy. So, like, I was born in Tracy, California. What's up? 95376. That's my. So, like, San Joaquin Valley
Nice.
is when I was a kid, man. My grandmother Solorio. My grandfather was a ranchero from Michoacan. 10 kids on my mom's side, and they lived in Carbona. And surrounding me as a kid, apricots, cherry trees, tomatoes, like. Anything you could think of, we like that little town. Everybody pushed out through, you know, all the way past like Modesto, like all the way, you know, everywhere you looked, we had food. My friends were all farmers, so you know that was like instilled in me. And then my abuelita on my dad's side, my Teresa Becerra, God bless all my family. She was like this beautiful Mexican chef, and like that's where I knew where food was so special. And we sat down. She served my grandfather, as the Latinos do, you know what I mean? It was like very important to sit and like I remember just like everybody's in awe of my grandmother's cooking. Yeah. So anyway, fast forward to barely getting out of high school, falling in love with like astronomy, and like business law. I like some, the stars and religion. I love religion. So anyway, we did music for a while. All I wanted to do was like Rage Against the Machine, kind of like political stuff. I went through some bands in Stockton, Sacramento, Oakland.
What kind of music?
And then, we did like heavy funk, thrash, political, like love music.
Nice. Funk, thrash, love music. That sounds like my kind
Yeah,
of
man.
loving.
Yeah, and then NorCal stuff. So anyway, my band broke up when I went to my first trip to Europe, and I thought I came back home. I had to come back home. I sat on my couch with my parents. I was flipping through the TV, super depressed. And I was like, man, what am I going to do with my life, man? Like, I just want to create. I just want to be a part of, like, creating something. Like, I don't want to work in a factory. I don't want to go to Amazon wasn't a Tracy at that time. Like, we had a lot of, stuff like that. And I saw this chef on television. I just cut through, and he when we can cut the onion stuff where you just go chop it really fast. And that was my epiphany. I was like, I think I'll be a chef. Yeah. And from that moment, I was like, damn, I could do that. I think I could do that. And I was like anybody else, like, as an artist or whatever, like trying to figure shit out in life. I went to restaurants and said, I will work for free if you teach me how to cook. I want to be a chef. And I went to a restaurant in Tracy, California, it's a Chinese restaurant. And I told the lady that. She's like talking to her father in Mandarin. Then I was like, it takes a long time, years to be a chef. I cannot work here. She put me on the floor after the lunch service. She's like, no, you're not qualified here. Sorry. And I'm like, lady, you don't have to pay me. I'm like, literally, we'll just come here to wash dishes and, work for free because I really want to learn how to cook. And anyway, I didn't let that restaurant family deter me from what I knew was kind of a calling, I guess, or what I wanted to kind of like pursue. And from there, I went to lunch with this beautiful girl, and she introduced me to this cool restaurant, Modesto, and the chef there like taught me how to make a marinara sauce. Like I gave him the pitch. He's like, "Come right now, show me how to make a marinara." I'm like, "Oh my god!" So it was very tangible, and I was like super happy about that.
And what year was this?
Possibly, no.
Yeah, no.
It was in the 90, 92, 93.
All right,
93.
cool. All right, I remember that era, and food definitely very hot, very cool. Things were shaking all
California
over.
moving. Yeah, chef. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And so then you were cooking in California. You decided to go to Hawaii. Is that your first official destination?
Yeah. So it was like I knew that like then I learned a Caesar dressing. So I'm like, all right, cool. So this is endless. This could be endless. So I knew that this was like a career that I could just keep kind of moving and learning, and it was something I enjoyed learning. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. One of my homeboys came back, or I was at this little restaurant in Tracy, and one of my good friends, Stelios Fingilakis, who's out in Florida with you out there, he's like, "What are you doing, Rand?" I'm like, "Yo, man, I think I want to be a chef, dude. I'm working at this restaurant." He's like, "What?" He's like, I live in Honolulu, bro. I'm cooking right now for the Harmon Nicholas Corporation. You want a job? I got you. We're building a brand new restaurant called Sorrento's, top of the Ilokai. I'll get you it." And I was like, "What?" Never thought I'd go to Hawaii, never, and next thing I know, I packed up, I bought a one-way ticket, $800.
Nice.
And I landed in Honolulu, and boom, it was on.
You've been cooking for a bunch of years. Then you got it down. You decide you're in Hawaii. You cook with some of the top names. We talked earlier, and you were just like, you were belting out some serious cooking hands. I mean, the solid chops of the kitchen world.
I mean, like, I became literally like early students of before the I guess the celebrity chef was in transition with Chef Gordon. Well, I don't know if you've seen that documentary, but like, man, that guy put Emerald on. He put Larry Forgione. He had all Peter Merriman, like all these great chefs, Roy Yamaguchi, Alan Wong. Thomas Keller came out to do the Grand Chef on a while in Maui. And I used to just travel over, save my money, and go just so I could like stage over there, sleep on the beach, and then go work with them. And like, so I was around these great chefs. And so at that point, I was just like, man, this is gonna be my life.
And
And
it's a great life. I mean, the people who tune in with us are really dedicated culinarians. You know, people are into it. They write us. They tell us all the time, "I'm a young cook. I enjoy your show. You guys keep it real." You know, I've never ever regretted a day in the kitchen. I've absolutely adored every minute, and it's always been a very golden place for me. You know, and it
yeah.
sounds like you have a very similar story that you kind of just fell in love with it. I mean,
When you go to war, like we were talking earlier, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like
no, you're good.
when you're getting your mise en place together in the restaurant, you got 250 on the books or 300 because like the restaurant that I was like coming up, and we had first term was all Japanese, second term was all local celebrities, and then third turn was like fuck. So we were just like, I used to get knocked in my stomach taking the elevator. I'm going like, God, I hope this chef doesn't fucking yell at me. I hope I get my
That's
shit
awesome.
together. Like, and then Mark, like my boy Mark, my boy Mickey, like we're on the line. Chef's like fucking doing his thing. We have a big Greek owner that's just like, he don't fuck around. But we're all in the trenches together, like just like I got your back, boom, boom, boom. You know when once that ticket starts, it
Yeah.
starts fucking going, and you're just like, all right, this shit is on, let's go.
Yeah.
So and you have to
builds-
make every plate beautiful,
Yeah.
because that's what the chef wants and that's what the client deserves.
Definitely, it's definitely like you said. It's like war, and it builds a camaraderie that will never be matched. I mean, I don't. I mean, I remember cooks that I cooked with 30 years ago, like it was yesterday, and remember services, certain nights. I mean, it's just amazing, the kitchen.
Yes, you just bond. You just bond over like the hard work, the hours, the stress, the like working on Christmas, New Year's Eve, like Easter, like shit. I don't even know what that's like still. I mean, like I work every Christmas pretty much.
Yeah.
I have my own business now, so if I wanted to take it off, I could most certainly take any day off I wanted to. But we live that life, man. That's chef life,
And
I
also,
respect all my boys.
no, and also that everyone
girls
knows
and
each
women.
other. No, the women, are you kidding? They're dominating the
Big
biz, as
bullet.
it should be. I mean, they're good,
Oh yeah,
I mean, I remember even back in the 90s, I was working at a place where the chef, his sous chef was a woman, was very rare in the early 90s, and
Yep.
but she was hard. Susan Bell. I used to call her Susan Campana because, in Espanol, tú sabes, Bell is campana.
sí.
But
Campana de huevo.
she was amazing. She could whip out service. She could butcher. She
Yeah.
would do pastries, and the men were all
Oh man, they're
complaining.
plating so beautiful. Their fingers, like I hear
Amazing.
you. 100. And a lot of them are pastry chefs, yes. But then you started like I was in the 90s. Then I met the mother of my children, Siobhan, and she was studying at Northwestern. So I went to Chicago. I left beautiful Hawaii, and I had remember Charlie Charter's first cookbook?
Yeah.
Yeah, the most beautiful freaking it was like a Bordeaux color. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
exactly.
where the food was the art. Like it wasn't these like let's put it up on a fucking take a picture of the food with all this garnished like plants and shit around it. It was like all up in the food where you're like, damn, I see that couscous, I see that eggplant. Whoa, I see like little like hairs of fiddlehead fern or whatever, and you're just like, what? And then at the cook, I was just like bugging out. So.
And Charlie Trotter
great.
also was like, he actually showcased his sous chefs in that book, He always
Yeah,
gave
Reggie.
them their place,
Bro, yeah.
No,
So my
but-
first day. Yeah, go ahead.
No, please go on.
Yeah, no. So like, I went to Chicago to follow this lovely, beautiful woman, and I'm like, I want to go straight to Armitage. I want to see Charlie's restaurant. She's like, all right, I'll drive you by there. We'll go by. Literally just JOJ, just out the jet. I go there and I see this brick like just this little. I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. This is cool. And I'm like looking around in awe because I'm like, I'm so like this guy's my hero. And I see Chef walk by like from like the private kitchen to the main kitchen, and I was like, Chef, and like he like turns around and nobody's there. It's like super early before service. He's like, yeah. He's like, I said, oh, sorry. Hi, my name's Randy Puceras. I just moved from Hawaii. I'm a young cook. I'm like, man, I would love to work for you, sir. And he's like, huh? He's like, oh, okay. He's like, why do you want to work for me? And I was like, oh, you're the best. And he looked at me like I was an idiot because, he's not the best. He's one of the great ones in Chicago, and he has his chefs, right? But I was like, so, I didn't know what to say. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, Chef, if I were able to cook for you or work for you, I would be able to work with ingredients that I would not be able to pretty much anywhere in this country, and let alone Chicago. And he was like, all right, come on inside. I was like, what? And then I went into the kitchen, man, and I went into the Charlie Charter's kitchen in Armitage, that world famous restaurant. And like Reggie was there, Guillermo was there. Those those are his two steps.
Yeah,
you were
Guillermo.
talking to. Oh, Guillermo, no mama, that guy's a beast. Those dudes, they were so fucking like. So listen to this. I don't mean to like keep rambling, but I go, and he's like, Guillermo, Reggie, this kid from Hawaii. What's your name again? Randy. Yeah, he wants to work. He's like, get him an apron. Let's see what he could do. And I was like, what? I was not ready for that, right? And I said, well, Chef, I'm supposed to have dinner to be my fiance because I was engaged at the time, and her uncle was a big architect in Chicago. And he's like, I'm supposed to have lunch with my fiance's uncle today. And he's like, you could do that anytime. You want to work for me or not? And I'm like, yes, Chef. I called her up and I said, look, she wants to work for Charlie Trotter. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so, from there, I was like, man, it was incredible. It was an incredible situation. And to wrap the story up, Siobhan was going to Northwestern, and I had heard about Trio. And Trio was like, Sean McLean was the chef at the time. Then Grant Actis, finished up with Eric Tramonta was the original chef with Gail Gann. And so, I had to go see Trio, and Bill Kim was there. And he just left Charlie Trotter's, and I wanted to take the train with my fiance, and Trio just had this vibe of and it was the best call for me. So I not to say I turned Charlie Trotter down, but I took a job at Trio.
And Trio, I mean, talk about presentation. Talk about just using different style plates and props and things.
You know it.
Oh yeah.
Henrietta Nia, man, he had a visit. He was an artist himself. He knew that the chef who ran and the guys who worked, we're a culinary art. I guess go ahead and we call it our craft or our passion, but ultimately, it's art.
The biz was different then, and I there was you can talk about the age of the grand hotels of Paris and London and New York, and that age has passed on, and then we get into this age where the chefs in America were truly working hard to show the chefs of Europe, that we had the chops to make it happen, and now post-COVID, I mean, of course, then came the whole Food Network and the whole television angle, and chefs kind of said, well, am I entertaining or am I a good chef, and on and on. And now post-COVID, I mean, how do you see the biz? I mean, it's changed a lot,
Yeah, well, here's the deal. So, yes, America finally came up, and we kind of defined with Larry Ford Jones with American cuisine, and gotta have all my great New York chefs and California cuisine, and the Hawaiian regional chefs, and then we just embraced who we were, right? Using French techniques, but not really trying to be anything else. But we were becoming American chefs. And that's what I remember about that whole scene. Yes, we always look up to the the Alain Ducasses and the great chefs with the French techniques, but Asian food. We're able to do other food because we're America. It's kind of like what Australia went through. We didn't really have an American cuisine, so we took everybody who's in our country who makes us wonderful, and that was our cuisine.
I know, definitely, and today, I mean, do we see that still push from chefs? Do we see that
Well,
that intensity that we lived through? I mean, literally, it was like joining the army.
no, the brigade is like, and that's why I like Trio, because they're just like, everybody's like, nobody wanted to cut you down, and that's all I knew. My chef used to fucking make me cry. I used to like literally like break tears and be like, man, why does he hate me so much, man? I'm trying so hard. But that was the mentality of the brigade, is like break you down to nothing to bring you up to the way they wanted to see you. So, but to answer your question, chef, what I see, like, and that's a lot of like decades between like that time in the 90s to like where we are now.
Yeah.
And like, I think America's come so far, and there's such great food everywhere, especially like in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, obviously New York, all over, everywhere you can find great food, right? You can't forget the South. Like, this is great stuff. But to if you want to lose money or like lose a friend that wants to invest in your restaurant, then open a restaurant. You know, and like you will, it's blood, sweat, and tears, and then like fucking more blood and more burns and more tears, and then happiness and grind. And if you're, you all we want to do is our food to make people happy and like see if the place come back clean. Now with COVID, and the entire world is going through is like convenience. And America's about fucking convenience. And it really, like, I'm not okay with it. This Uber Eats, that's great. Like, nobody wants to go out anymore, sit down, and nobody wants to cook. And like, it's just like, not to say nobody wants to cook in America. There's a lot of people who feel like we do. I just cooked for a client. He fucking do more shit than I did. I was just like, God damn, bro. You like, you make that? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, damn, you're a CEO of a hedge fund? I'm like, that's pretty impressive, Leland. And anyway, it's like, so people find this like gift, and it truly brings you this, to it doesn't become a chore. It becomes like therapy. And like, if you want to order Uber Eats and there's great shit that comes very fast and boom, 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 and your food, you feel it has a soul, then eat it. Or if it's just like something to give you protein and like energy, then eat some great food. That's like very easy to get. New Yorkers are very like that way. No, I'm going to go get Bernadette and have it dropped off of the house. Like, whatever, man. Like, go to the grocery store, cook your food. Learn what you're eating. Learn where it comes from. Fuck, maybe try to grow it.
Right. No, Def. Now, chef, I mean, tu nombre es placeres. I mean, in Espanol, I mean, in English, that means pleasures. As a chef, is that name work for you? Or as a ladies' man, obviously, because you...
Oh, my God. So I just got back from Oaxaca, and like, Randy Placeres. We were like, nah, no mames. Yeah. And it's just like, it's so funny because Randy's horny in England. So I'm like, horny pleasures. That's
Pa colmo. I love it. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's so great what you're doing and just being able to talk. And I was like, when I was putting up a post about that, I tagged some of my old chef buddies and shit. I'm like, yo, you got to check this out when it pops. And they're like, I'm like, yo, it's chef driven. We talk about chef life, man. I remember at Trio, like people would be like, oh, this guy had like an MBA. He was a lawyer, and he had seen some like he was like he came to stage at Trio because we had people pop in like just like regular like people, not like Anthony Bourdain, like dirty ass cooks, like like the real cooks. Like you're either cooking for work because you need it, or you're cooking because you're a chef.
Yeah.
And like, some Latinos that just go in for a job end up kicking asses over the culinary fucking kids, and they become the chefs because they work hard. They have they have you have desire and respect for what you do. And so anyway, like this guy came in and I was just like, what are you doing in here, dude? Like, oh my God, you have no idea. Like, but that's what happened to me. I looked at when that Chinese chef, he was like, it takes me years. And I was like, fuck. So anyway.
No, that is just I mean, that is what this show's all about. And this is what we like to share these stories. And that's why I just let my guests just really take over and share with us what they want to share with us. But I want to know is if there was one person in history that, or any time now, history, whenever, one person you could cook for, who would you cook for? I mean, I know that's
wow. Oh, wow. That's, my grandmother Placeres, like, I would do my relatives for sure. My ancestors,
Wow.
I would like my whole lineage of my family, where if it goes back to the Mayans or the Aztecs or the Spaniards, or like, even Russia, God bless Russia, like, no war Russia. Like, who knows? I don't even know. I've never taken a DNA test. But if I could cook, and if that's just not one person, but if I could find that one person that has that one thing with that one other person, I would cook for them.
Nice. And that's really what it's all about. I mean, how many people we cook for that are like famous in our lives, and it's like, you cook for them and in the end you just kind of say like, you know what, that was cool. They enjoyed my food. And whenever you see them on TV or anywhere on the court or in the field, you say to yourself,
yeah,
I cook for that guy. I cook for her.
Yeah, I know that guy. Dude, I know that guy. I know where he lives. Dude, I got the code to his door. Like, yeah, I know it's real. It's real. But here's one thing, and I don't know how much time we got, but I'm like, I've had all these ideas about cookbooks, and like, I've been in Aspen for 22, 23 years now.
Oh, really?
I went out there with Barbie Benton and
wow.
George Brown. They have this crazy space house. They like picked me up in Honolulu. I worked for Yamaguchi, and they offered me a shit ton of money. I just got married to Siobhan, and I was like, I'm going to Aspen? Like, what the hell is this? So anyway, fast forward with 2 kids. They're in college now. Jaime, Hunter, and Didi. It's like, man, I've cooked for the wealthiest, most powerful. This next month, I'm cooking for some royal family on the download. I don't even get to cheat yet, but like,
wow.
The celebrities and the billionaires and the powerful people. What I've learned, Chef, is like they're just like us. They want to, like, the wealthy people. They're like, do you know about this caviar? Blah blah blah, because that's like upper echelon shit, right?
Yeah.
But like when it comes down to it, money doesn't mean anything. And I've cooked privately, and I've been in these people's homes, so it doesn't really make you super happy. It doesn't make, like, you don't have to chase money, And our country's all about money. Like, not everybody, but it's like, we're a capitalist country, and like we need to get back to like something that's more important, I feel. And just to finish that thought, so my cookbook's going to be called "I Never Cook and Tell Until Now." And I think I've signed like one NDA with like Jerry Seinfeld or something, and one with like a couple, big super huge basketball players, and one actor. And like I got a big list.
Nice.
So like it's gonna be like it'll be like this story that I just told you, but with the recipe here, like funny ass story there, like this is what it's with Justin Timberlake. I cooked for JT. John Legend ate this. Like, he was like, "Yo, man, you want to go on tour with me?" And I'm like, he's like, "The girls are hot." This is before Tegan. And I'm like, "Yo, I got 2 girls that they're like 12. I can't go, bro." But yeah, so that's the one I think I'm excited to do.
Oh man,
that was the cannabis.
The cookbook sounds amazing, man. I mean, nothing like being an author, chef author,
Yeah.
Eres un chingón, brother.
Yes,
Love that. Definitely.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, Chef, like when you guys came to Food and Wine, we talked earlier today. Mm-hmm. You guys came, was Puerto Rico, right?
Yep.
Where you were like leading the pack with that whole hog, like coming through with the horn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember that
with Mario Pagan.
I was like, that is so fucking fire. And I had like 5, because I cater over that, and I had like all these big clients. But I'm like, yo, that's the dopest shit this year, right there. But he was doing like, I'm like, are you serious? That is fucking so cool. I will never forget that.
Yeah, well, Aspen's definitely for me was super memorable as well. I mean, talk about just a privileged place to be, and you sound like you're really killing it up there in the mountains. Really sounds exciting, and your story is like amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a very lucky kid from Tracy, man, who washes a lot of dishes, who pays attention to people, waiters, dishwashers. Like I'm friends with everybody, man. Billionaires, street people, like Everybody gets the same. My friend Stelios Frenzolakis, who got me into the restaurant, he's like, the guys would come back and he's like, VIP, it's a VIP. And he would be like, fuck. He's like, everybody's a VIP to me, bro. I cook the same for everybody.
You know,
Every plate I put my 100%. And he just did the shit. I was just like, damn. And that dude, like, yeah, that's still with me.
I love that. Oh yeah, well, you know what we got to do? We got to get you to Puerto Rico. We got to get you down there to cook some of your style cooking, you know. And,
yeah, man, I would love that.
I would
love that, man.
You know, Puerto Rico is such a cool place. I mean, you know,
Puerto Ricanos, man. That would be an honor for me.
Well, that sounds great. Well, Chef Placeres, it's been an absolute pleasure sharing this time with you. I look forward to doing more things and getting that book and hearing more of your great stories and really getting you out there as much as possible. It sounds like you're doing it on your own, you know.
You know what? You really reignited me, and I didn't even talk about the cannabis stuff that I was like forging the cannabis like before. Like there was like 3 other steps in the country doing it. I was one of them. And then, you know, so you reignited me to get back. You know, I do political plates now. I do like sacred geometry on my plating. I'm like on a whole other level, man. I was like just for myself, not in competition. I don't do any of the competition stuff because like if it's like art, it's like who's to say like who's this better? You know what I mean? We're all winners. So thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's an absolute pleasure, like I said. And I tell you another thing. It's like getting you to Puerto Rico is going to happen. So wait for that call. Okay. I tell you what, Chef, it's been absolutely such a great time with you. Your story is amazing, and I'm glad you could share it with us today here in Survival. So look forward to seeing you soon, Chef. Where can our listeners find you?
I usually just do a little bit of stuff on Insta that follows over to like Facebook, but like my Instagram is at Chef Randy Placeres.
At Chef Randy Placeres.
And there you can see, and it's RandyPlaceres.
Nice.
And then you can see like the evolution of the cannabis kind of stuff that's been over the years when I was with High Times, and I went to Bangkok to do dinner. Just got back from Mexico, where we did Day of the Dead dinner, and we got the end. Like, but it's just been traveling, man, spreading the love and preaching the gospel of marijuana.
Yeah, I have some great Oaxaca stories I'll have to share with you another time.
Do it over the mezcal way.
Eso vale. Well, thanks a lot, Chef. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me ramble on.
It was awesome.
Much love.
Thank
you,
sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Chef.
Éxito.
All right. Ciao.
All right, y'all. There you have it. Chef Randy Placeres. This guy is amazing. My couple conversations I've had with him, he's inspired me, by the way, because that energy he has, and he's really pushing the envelope. I'm glad I could bring him to all of you. Make sure you follow him. Keep in touch with us as well. Mention where you heard us. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is another episode, another podcast of Survival of the Fittest is the Soup du Jour. I'm Chef Roberto Trevino, and I'll see you in the kitchen. See ya.